agenda is the subdivision application for 10 Franklin Street. Mr. and Mrs. Gamble. We have, let's see what we got here tonight. Should have received, the board member should have received a report from Michael Fishman, who is a certified wildlife biologist. And he's done an extensive review of the property. Does anybody on the board have any questions or comments?
I have some questions about what I've read. So the soil and the drainage, it seems like I can't figure out what he's saying. Is he saying the soil is a wetland soil and it doesn't have drainage? Because there's already some drainage issues on Berkey Ave, so I'm kind of confused on this, but
His report indicated that a small section in the northeast corner would be defined as federally regulated wetlands potentially, but it's very small. It's that northeast corner, but he said met the definition.
Yeah, it's like 2,100 square feet, maybe.
Yeah, something like that.
That's what I got from that anyway, and it was a small percentage total parcel, 0.05%. So that means that it cannot be disturbed.
Well, it means that they would have to go to the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers and ask them if it falls under their jurisdiction before they did any filling or alteration to that small area.
But that small area is the only thing that's
Right.
right.
And where would that be in which parcel would that be in?
That would be in
The third one?
Parcel 3.
Yeah, parcel 3.
Parcel 3. Oh, okay. So it's outlined there.
I'm not sure if that's the wetland outline.
Wetland area as delineated by Edgewood Environmental Consulting.
Oh, okay, there you go. You read the map better than I did.
It looks like it goes right into the road.
Well,
I think that's the edge of pavement line.
yeah. Okay. Anything else?
is that the issues with the drainage on Berkey Ave then? I mean, they show pictures of the drainage under Berkey Ave and then there's things in here where I see where people are saying that the road is closed because of flooding and
That flooding is I believe, the swamp just catches water, not just from Dirty Ave. And as the water table rises, Dirty Ave floods, but Mike,
Turkey does flood. She's correct. But it seems like that whole end drains into the swamp. But you got a section of Prospect there where it flooded too,
yes,
by Ashcraft, so.
yeah, well,
The other house that's there on the corner of Prospect and Durkee, we helped him fill some of that in on the DEC because he was flooding in his yard down.
that's,
That sounds like an infrastructure issue though. I mean,
Yeah,
not necessarily that plot of land issue. What's the drainage like under the roads?
well, it does definitely drain right down through that property, so.
well, his analysis that from what I read, his analysis says that
North from the corner or
the storm drain that the village has there is above the grade of the wetland. So that it will not, he's saying that it will not run from the wetland into the.
That's correct, it would have to be moved. But when it floods over there, that's, the water's right up the top of that storm drain. And
So it's,
there's one on the other side of the road that does the same thing.
right. So. The. Find this. This report here. Back to these paper today.
There's a lot.
So was there any discussion other than that?
Don, can you hear me?
Yes,
I would think that these things would affect, development of those sites. And it's not a question really of, a subdivision. So when it came time to develop it, they would have to consider, how to handle that wetland area. Check with the Corps of Engineers, Army Corps of Engineers, and, see if it needs to be dealt with or just left the way it is and work around it. Is that right?
I don't really know. Maybe Mr. Snyder has some insight.
Well, I think that's a fair statement that we made there.
Okay,
So I don't see very much that affects going ahead with, okaying the subdivision unless there's some other topic comes up.
No, there's subdividing it. Has no impact on the land. It's what happens after the subdivision. If you go to do construction after subdivision, then there is something to be, maybe something to be considered.
Right.
But as far as us approving the subdivision, it should not, I don't believe it should be contingent on any of that. Good.
What did the county say about this? Do they have contingencies about this? Kind of,
In the
No.
packet they didn't, in the packet, there was a letter in there that said that it would just go, it would go to us, I believe. I read that. I can find it in all of this.
The May 2 report from county planning. They reviewed the subdivision. It's zoned R2 in accordance with the Code of Village of Homer. Determined the request has no state or county-wide impact. Request is returned to the village without going before county planning board.
okay. It's pretty straightforward then, at this stage.
Right. Now, Mike, you said,
Don,
yes,
you've got, I wanted to make sure I've got the right attendance on your board. Is that Paula
Yes,
and
Jessica,
Jessica? That's the only ones I know the rest. Thank you.
okay. Does Mike's Zoom attendance count, Pat?
Yeah.
It does, okay, as long as there's a quorum here.
Who's that attorney you got sitting there at the board?
Hi, Joe.
Hi, Patrick.
That was a redundant question.
It was. It's off the record.
Okay. So what is the board's pleasure? Do we need to do a short form?
Right.
This is declared an unlisted.
Unlisted action, so. I'm sure you've read part 1 already, so. Now that you're familiar with part 1, you need to go down through part 2 and complete that.
Are you ready, Don?
Not quite. I've got to find my copy of the part 2 so I can fill it out and sign it at the appropriate time. Which, Joan, you inundated us with paperwork here. Okay, here we go. Fire away, Joan, if you will read.
Okay.
the
Part 2, the impact assessment. Number 1, will the proposed action create a material conflict with an adopted land use plan or zoning regulations. You have two choices. First column is no or small impact. Second column is moderate to large. So that's what I need an answer to.
Yeah. Yeah, no or small impact. I believe.
Okay?
All agreed?
I agree. Yeah,
Number two, will the proposed action result in a change in the use or intensity of use of the land?
Yes.
Not
Yes.
large.
it'd be a small impact, right?
Yes.
Number three, will the proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community?
Smaller, no.
Yes. Yeah, small.
All agreed?
Number four, will the proposed action have an impact on the environmental characteristics, cause the establishment of a critical environmental area? I don't think you have one there, so that would be no, correct?
Correct.
Number five, will the proposed action result in an adverse change in the existing level of traffic or affect existing infrastructure for mass transit, biking, or walkways?
No or small.
Small.
Number six, will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy and it fails to incorporate reasonably available energy conservation of renewable energy opportunities?
No.
No or small.
Number seven, will the proposed action impact existing public or private water supplies?
No.
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 Public or private wastewater treatment utilities?
No.
Number eight, will the proposed action impair the character or quality of important historic, archaeological, architectural, or aesthetic resources?
No.
Number
No.
nine, will the proposed action result in an adverse change to natural resources? For example, wetlands, water bodies, groundwater, air quality, flora, and fauna?
Yes.
It may be a small, but it won't be a moderate to large.
Okay. Well,
Right,
Are we talking
I
about
agree.
All
subdividing?
agree?
We're not talking about anything other than that, so no.
In case you got a snail darter there on the property. They're endangered species.
Right.
Number 10, will the proposed action result in an increase in the potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage problems?
That would be either no or small.
Yeah, I would agree.
You all agree?
A small impact.
Will the proposed, number 11, will the proposed action create a hazard to environmental resources or human health?
No,
Okay, you need a motion for a negative declaration.
Some of those.
I'll make a motion for a negative
Who-
declaration.
Who's that? Who's
Jeff.
speaking?
Jessica,
Jessica. Second,
Second.
Mike.
Mike?
Yeah.
Mike H.
Yep.
Vote.
Made and seconded. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
I,
aye,
Any negatives? Motion made and carried. Thank you. All right. Now. You a motion on the proposed application subdivision. Does anybody want to make a motion on the application?
I will make a motion to subdivide, approve the subdivision.
That's Jessica, right?
Yes,
That would be me.
I'll second it also.
seconded by
Mike,
Mike.
Yeah,
Mike H.
Okay, is there any discussion on the motion? No? Okay, all in favor, please say aye. Mike,
Aye.
Mike Pollock, aye. Jessica,
I,
Paula,
Aye.
all unanimous. Subdivision is approved. Next. What we got next? Item 2. On the agenda is. Site plan application for. A go-kart track. What is it called?
my crop, crack.
Micro track. Has everybody seen the county planning?
Yes,
Yes. Don, I have some comments on the application itself, if accuracy is it time to review that?
Yes, that's what we're here for, Mike.
So on, what is it, page 2? No, I don't think so. 1, 2, 3, 4, wow, 5, 6, 7. I don't know, where is this? Yeah, I might staple together thing. It's the 8th, the 7th, the second to last page. It's called, yeah, I guess it's the short environmental assessment form. Part 1. So the applicant filled it out that does the proposed action, this is 1, only involve the legislative adoption of a plan, local law, ordinance, or administrative rule or regulation. They had yes, and then they crossed it out to no. It's not my comment. Okay, 2 is my comment. Does the is everybody on page here with me?
Okay, you're talking about part 1, short environmental assessment, which are.
Yeah.
Question 1, they.
Now I'm in-
And put no.
Yeah. So, okay, I'm okay with that. So, yeah.
Sure.
So what I'm commenting on 2 now. Does the proposed action require a permit, approval, or funding from any other government agency? If yes, list agencies' name and permit or approval. They wrote no, and as I understand it from the county review, that it should be yes, because the village and state have something to say about it in terms of an amusement. DEC might have something to say about it. I mean, DOT might have something to say about it. So there are other agencies that have something to say about it. That's the way I interpret that.
that's the way I interpret it as well.
okay, so
I got more comments when you're ready for me to move ahead.
The applicants, are you to the applicants? Okay. Perhaps instead of getting into that, we should let them make a presentation on what their plans are, and we'll take it from there.
Okay.
Whoever wants to speak.
Do you want me to go up there or here fine?
You can,
Are both the applicants present?
yes, they are.
Okay, because I can't see what's in back.
If you want to come up, you can, the first chair here.
That would be good. Thank
Yeah.
you.
All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Kayla. So, proposing a go-kart track on the kid size, some like adult size, but like not my rods. Not really sure where that came from. But it's not my rods. They are, I have a picture. I don't know if it was in the pamphlet.
We didn't get anything other than the application
Oh, okay, weird, but
and
okay,
then a map.
And a map.
Survey map,
okay.
which
This is what they look like. They're not go-karts, they're not mud rods, they're not loud, they're just. What is the?
Are they gas powered?
They are gas powered.
And they're not loud?
No, so they're not, like a big, huge engine, they're like the smaller ones, what were they? The PSI, I have it on the book. And
The highest
they go like,
decibels are 72
yeah, they're not like, the like
at their highest.
super loud, like some people are
The mic rods would, they're loud.
like super
I
loud.
don't want people to get confused.
It's like a gas caddy. So it's what we would have on site, we wouldn't just be storing gas or anything like that, just, I think what almost 30 gallons. Yeah,
It's not gonna be a huge racing track, just a small little
Okay.
rental track
Small.
for kids and families to come enjoy.
Um,
We feel would fit in the property there.
this is the fencing, so I didn't know what to write exactly, to kind of answer some of his questions. I didn't know exactly what to write, because I do know that it's like state regulated, like they have to, I have to have a manual, every single day, the moment that I open. Every one of the cards have to be checked, there's like a checklist. New York State comes in and checks them randomly, they also come yearly, but I do believe that when we went to Portland, they said that it was like a yearly permit that we would have to get through the town. So that, and so they probably wouldn't have to do a ton of different like permits for just that certain thing. But there's logs every single day, like I have like kind of something to like show you guys. Thank you for not saying. We do have something from DOT. They did reach out and say that, the upper level parking lot, I don't know if you guys probably very familiar with it, but they have to be, kind of fenced off and grassed instead of open to the road. I don't know if that was in the paperwork, sent over from the town,
It was.
it was, okay.
from the county.
From
Yeah,
the county, yeah, it says, the proposed gravel parking lot be paved
Mhm.
to a boundary from the edge. And then there was something about, oh. The applicant provided a minimum of 10-foot vegetated buffer along Factory Brook to absorb the additional stormwater and volume containments. I don't know about any other.
They also asked us to, because they say that it could possibly be in like a flood zone. That we keep the like gas cans up. So that they're not exposed to water if there's maybe flood for some reason. Let me just try to find the,
Jessica,
Yes,
are you referencing the recommendations by the county?
yeah,
Thank you.
they did ask me to ask you guys, they said that they didn't know. It's stated that we needed like 31 parking spots. They said that that was a bit much, but didn't know what owner stipulations were on that. We were kind of wondering ourselves as well.
Kevin, the code. The code calls for parking spaces based on a square footage. One off-street parking space for each 400 square feet of gross floor area. Which would mean a requirement of 31 off-street parking spaces. And I'm looking at the map here, I don't have. Parking spaces are not delineated at all. And parking spaces are 10 feet by 20 feet, I believe, in the village. And I'm a little bit concerned about the map that was submitted. It doesn't.
The yellow would be parking.
It's very amateur.
Yeah,
Wouldn't
we
do it all.
weren't even like sure what to even do, to be honest, so it's kind of. Just kind of together, so the bottom parking lot where it's gravel that we need to be, paved. The back part, it could be 31 parking spots. They just would need to be like kind of on the bit of the hill. There's a big opening in the back of this building, through the fence. I don't know if you guys are familiar, like if you were looking at it near the, is it Clinton Street by the school? So if you look in the back is a big parking area, just not used.
There could be 31 parking spaces. But there almost wasn't 31 parking spaces. When
Right.
there's a used car lot, so. We're hoping to get that lowered.
Well, with the 31 parking places with the used car lot was utilizing where you got asphalt and as I recall, there was parking on the lawn up close to the road, which was not to be allowed. If this board approves the site plan, I don't know, I don't believe we can, I think you'd have to get a variance on the parking. I don't think that this board can give you a variance on the number of parking spaces.
Yeah, because they were saying something about, it went on like the building, footage as well, and we're really not using the building for anything but an office. So.
But I thought you said, and there's some place in here that you're gonna use the building for concessions.
No,
No,
that
got added in there too somehow.
got added in.
Like that stuff.
So, no, there's no concessions, there's no food going to be served, it's just going to be rented go-karts.
But it does use the bathrooms, right? They'd be available to the customers?
Correct.
Could, you have I can't see the picture of the vehicle. Not sure, and you said it really is not a microd and it's not really a go-kart. You have a model of it so I could look it up and get a sense of what it's like?
It is a go-kart.
Okay. And does it have a brand?
There's a bunch, so this one is called a Double Eagle, this is for 2 people. So if you were to have a 7-year-old or a 5-year-old, because under 10, you cannot ride alone in New York State. So this is a double, it's called a Double Eagle. They're out of J&J's Amusement in, where are they at? Oregon.
Thank you.
How many go?
How much gas will you be storing?
30 at most gallons in a caddy that looks like this. Hang on.
Yeah, of course I can't see that, but
Oh, okay, sorry.
it's one one caddy and you fill it into a smaller container and then you fill it into the go-kart?
Correct. Or no, the caddy we fill up at like the gas station and then this goes into the go-kart. There's like a little pump and everything on the
Okay,
caddy,
good.
no
Yeah,
leakage. Can you
Right.
put it closer?
is that,
You could look them up online too. It's just a gas caddy.
One fill in the car.
sorry?
So there's multiple of these things, so
There's
each
one.
car has its own caddy.
No, we were only
No.
gonna keep two on. the
No.
car.
Oh, okay,
They don't use that much gas, so
They're very,
they're like gonna go for
okay,
3 minutes tops.
Okay.
So it's literally like, they don't use a ton of gas.
okay.
What's the motor? A 3-horse motor, 4-horse motor,
5.5,
the 5.5?
5.5 Honda.
Can you pass those around?
Yeah.
No, I want to see the caddy for gas.
Okay. You wanna see the fence as well?
No, I'm
No.
not concerned about the contract.
Could you clarify that comment about how many caddies there would be?
2
There would be 2
on the front.
on premises.
And they each hold 30 gallons apiece.
And how many go-karts would you have?
6.
6 go-karts.
2 doubles,
It- it-
4 singles.
And you're renting them out, I'm assuming, for profit type deal.
Correct.
I might have missed it, but what's the amount of, what's the volume in a caddy?
30 gallons,
30 gallons?
correct.
Thank you.
Do they come with some kind of containment, a method, like a pan in case of leakage?
They're very well-built,
They're
contained.
durable containers.
So
And you can move these around.
They're-
Yeah,
They're
they have
portable.
They're on wheels, they're portable.
where would they get stored at night?
In the
In the
basement.
basement of the building with the carts.
The county recommended or contingent that they be put up off the ground in case of flooding. Have to do something.
It's a little manual type gas caddy. If you pump, they all come in with the same motor or
Yes.
Yes,
what brand is it? You don't know.
I
the
do believe that's a Falcon, and if it's not a Falcon, it is a Sidewinder. They're all from the same company.
I guess I'm looking for the brand of the motor.
Honda.
Honda motors.
Honda.
Yeah.
What's the anticipated speed?
15 miles an hour, that's gonna be a smaller track.
And they have shut-offs, so they're not like,
They're governed.
yes, and they have a
Electronic
electronic shut-off.
They also got some, when you say electronic shut off, is your rider hooked to that electronic shut off?
No. We're responsible for that, you know, if they're bumping or, you know, something happens, you can shut them
I
down.
mean, I would imagine we could hook a tether to one of them if we needed to, but, they're,
There's seatbelts and that in them?
yes, they're 5-point harnesses.
And even at 50 miles an hour, they're gonna bang down.
The go-kart rental business is governed pretty heavily by New York
I
State.
would think. They don't
Very
want-
heavy.
They don't want anybody to get hurt.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back to number 5 on the recommendations. That all hazardous toxic materials be stored in an area of secondary containment.
That's what they told us.
So that means that you can't just put it on the floor. You've got to have,
Right,
Right.
up
well,
on something.
up doesn't mean a secondary
It's
containment.
gotta be in some kind of cabinet, safety,
Either
safety
cabinet,
type cabinet.
so that it leaks.
It would have a secure base around it where it couldn't leak
Right.
further down. Understand.
Well, I'm glad that we discovered what they are. They're not microns.
Yeah, I don't know why it
I don't
got
know how that,
confused with microns. They're not with microns.
see nothing racing and they're not crazy loud and
They're literally like for kids, like, we're not looking for 22-year-olds to come hotboxing around. We're kind of aiming towards
parents and school age.
school age, kids, not grown kids.
Is that your intention down the road though, to open it up to older?
Not.
No, my intention actually down the road is to open an indoor go-kart track.
Yeah, and that would
Would
No,
be
I-
electric go-karts, not
more
gas.
bigger property.
Yeah, you need something
Yeah,
a little
way,
bit.
yeah,
bigger.
way bigger.
At this location, we can't really do that.
We would like to start here and, you know, it's a good opportunity for kids. The school's down the road and then they have the ice cream shop and it's literally seasonal. It's not like it, you know. We don't wanna run past 9 o'clock at night. We don't want, you know,
We can pay for-
I mean, okay, are you doing this indoors?
no, outside. So the
Paved
top
area.
parking lot
Paved area of this.
is where it would be.
So near the top half of the page.
So we're gonna be close to the roads.
Do you have another facility like this or one that we could go take a look at? That somebody else has that are similar?
You could go to Ringwood Racetrack, that's in
Ringwood.
Dryden,
Driving New York,
but that's much, much bigger
Bigger.
and they're bigger carts.
What's the one that's in Syracuse?
That is an indoor track as well. Those are very fast carts.
Yeah,
And they're aimed for like big kids, like big party and goes there.
so one in Dryden is more oriented to
correct, yeah,
Yeah, the one in Dryden is kind of,
hardly to be more smaller scale.
yeah, and smaller than them. The ones in Ringwood are much bigger, bulkier and older.
Mhm.
Ours are going to be smaller. This picture is kind of almost the size, they're very small, compact, they're not, like Ringwood has they're just old and big.
That didn't give dimensions of it at all, I don't
They
think.
might have some dimensions, they have a ton of stuff in this thing, and each one of them come with, one of these books.
Mhm.
And like videos that you play. But hang on. Here's actually, there's some, so ours would be called. These are electric though, so like an eagle, a scorpion, they're just much smaller, so it's hard to reference Ringwood
So show
into.
the dimensions.
Something like-
I'm gonna try, I imagine there's dimensions on here.
There's a-
Oh, there is, oh, okay.
Overall length 82 inches.
7 feet.
Not exactly well.
These tables are what?
Is that for the
Six.
doubles?
That might not be the exact.
Single
card.
seat go-kart, Scorpion Sidewinder, overall length 82 inches.
Are we gonna scorpions and falcons though?
Sorry.
Oh, we are. There's
Overall
two
width
different.
45 inches.
Well, when you say noise, I mean, I don't know anything about decibels or whatever, but you have one going.
Mhm.
That's one thing, but if you've got
6 going.
10 going and there's a party going on, that seems like it would be pretty noisy to me.
To know
If
where
I
you're-
lived in this house, if I lived in this house of this 2-story house that's next door. I don't know.
It's
That'd be too happy.
honestly, it's not nowhere near as noisy as the traffic
Yeah,
there.
tractor trailer.
Well, that's my next question is traffic, which I know that isn't on.
Well,
here,
I think that this is actually the structure that sits on the property. It's that A-frame structure.
There's no houses.
So there's no house there.
Across
But-
the street. There's two across the street.
There's two, there's some over here. And then just on the other side of West Road, there's, you know. a
So
whole
I'm so
development.
confused. Is this not the car lot that was an A-frame place?
Yes, this is the A-frame. On the map. That's
So
the
it's a
A-frame.
3-story house, that's the apron.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the where they used to park the cars for, what was it, Pops or
Mhm.
something?
Yeah.
And then back here, which I've never even seen a parking lot back there, but
It could
probably
be-
because you can't see it.
Yeah,
It's
closed
shaded,
off.
yeah,
there's a parking lot back here. But
There's
there's still a house right over here. There's still a house that sits right here, right on the corner, isn't there?
just back in the corner, yes.
The count, when we talk, the counties is all around.
Yeah, it's a business.
Yeah.
And the county is incorrect.
Yeah. They might.
And then there's a blue house that sits right over here.
Yeah, there's the old one.
There is a blue house.
There's a house that used to be St. Margaret's.
So
Education.
the way I estimate it is that there are about 6 houses within 500 feet. So.
Yeah.
And there's the medical facility right next door. And they're of course open during normal business hours. I'm not sure they'd be too happy with any noise.
And I guess my only other comment, my personal comment when I first read this, I think it's a wonderful idea. However, I'm concerned with traffic when you do have the ice cream store who's already in the middle of the road when they're having their lines. And then now we're gonna have Coffee Mania over here. I mean, there's gonna be a lot going on those four corners. And as it is, people can hardly turn up Route 41 without waiting, sometimes up to 10 minutes. So
Well,
I'm just concerned about that part of it, but maybe that's a different story and it wasn't out,
the next,
but I'm still saying it.
the next thing is that has not been discussed here yet. Is that the state plans to put a roundabout. At that intersection.
I've heard that.
That's been going on for a while now, that they've been
But
talking
it's,
It's
That-
required in New York State now to consider them.
the,
consider them.
Yeah,
I think it's more than considered.
Yeah.
This one is in the planning stages from what I've heard.
It wouldn't affect,
well, it will because it'll eat up all that property. They're gonna be
It
good.
could
It's
eat
gonna
up
cut
the
up into
property,
the
and
property.
it will impact.
We might be spinning their wheels if they come in with that roundabout.
True.
And apparently somebody from the state was involved with the review of this. That's coordinated review. Jeffrey D, on page 3 of the county's report. Acting regional permit engineer for DEC had multiple comments. Southern Route 41 driveway is not suitable for commercial business.
I don't have what you have. I don't have it.
So you do, it's just the way that
It's
I think
printed on
we
both sides.
received the packet.
Page 3, so.
Yeah, right.
Okay,
Page 1, 2, 3, 4,
okay.
or 4, 5.
You go ahead.
Okay. Not suitable for commercial business. Current standards require all commercial driveways to be paved to the highway boundary or 30 feet from the edge of the travel lane. Okay. And the existing northern access will no longer be used. I guess is that the plan?
Yes,
You'll close off that.
yeah, they said that we would have to close off the 2 open parking lots, which actually go to 41A and then, is it Clinton Street?
41 and 281.
Yes, so
The one-
those have to be closed off and not accessible to anything, and then the bottom lot would have to be paved and made into parking.
Now,
spaces, which is the yellow, and then the fencing has to go around it there anyways, so it wouldn't be an issue with that, isn't, yeah, it would be super closed off, no matter what.
well,
Do you have a description of the fence?
Yes. The county had asked us if it was gonna be chain link, and it's not, so this is the fence, I can let you guys, New York State says that it has to be, I don't know if you can see it good.
Mike, can
So
you-
it's a metal fence.
No, I can't see.
It's a
Just
wrought
describe
iron,
it.
looks like a wrought iron fence.
wrought iron black fence with,
If we get it up closer to the camera,
Yeah.
you can see it.
It has to be, what was it, 42 inches high, and then
Thank you.
certain amount of slats, space in between the slats, you're welcome.
So, so that's, you can see the activity through the fence,
Correct.
right? And what keeps people from running into that fence or keeping it on the track? Is there some barriers that keep them,
There's
guardrails?
Air barriers and like a protective barrier from the fence, go-karts and the, like there's tires that would go.
There'll be tires before the fence that the cart's contained in.
Used tires is what we're talking about.
They're gonna be
Used
very,
car tires.
yeah,
Yeah,
they're gonna be very nicely done, painted.
yeah, it wouldn't look just like a tire. They do have barriers that you can purchase,
Yeah.
Very
as
expensive.
well that are extremely expensive, but
Want to get started, but
they're not New York State regulated to have, but
Yeah, you plan to keep the 281 driveway open?
no.
No.
Mm-mm. The only driveway that will be able to be used is the Clinton Street side. So there would be no, now kids walk through the parking lot and go across the street to the ice cream shop. They won't be able to do that. They have to go up to the crosswalk. And the sidewalk ends on the Clinton Street side. There's no sidewalks anywhere in that location except for two, just about the grass on the right-hand side. It's not even on the left-hand side. It's just grass.
So the
Crosswalk there?
the
There you go.
driveway, you'll continue. Excuse me, I'm sorry, it's hard not to interrupt. Can't see you folks too well. The driveway that you will use is an existing driveway into the gravel parking area closest to the bridge,
Correct.
yes,
correct? And the other two will be closed off, yes. And can you go over that scenario with somebody coming across from the ice cream or anywhere across the street? There's no sidewalk. So where's the entrance? How does a pedestrian enter this facility
On the,
or walk in?
yep, the corner, of the property up by where the sign is now. We talked with the county about putting a path from the corner that's where the crosswalk comes across down to the actual track
that's the only cross.
to help them more accessible for the kids and pedestrians.
And I think it would even help so much is like Super Train because they, they walk across here and then they cut across here. Like through our, the parking lot. They wouldn't be able to anymore. So if we had that like walkway up through, so if they walked from the school across and then came up onto, the walkway to the crosswalk and then over. Rather than what it is now.
So are you open every day or you only open on weekends? What's that look like?
So what we want to do is Sunday to Sunday. Obviously, when school starts, we would only run the weekends. And it would be on Sunday would be kind of a touch and go, kind of depending on if we even got business.
And,
We don't, we don't really
depending
know.
on the business, maybe shut down Monday and Tuesday.
Yeah, kind of depending
We have to feel it out. And see.
what kind
I
of.
was just wondering about school buses in that street and all of that.
Yeah, we wouldn't open during school hours. So like when school started, it would be like what?
Four,
Four,
yeah.
five, something like that, so that it's not conflicting with schooling.
And we're really only gonna be open
And until like eight,
April to October.
yeah. And that's weather permitting. Because we do live in New York, so. Be June before you,
So
right, can't run.
when school is open, you'd be operating what hours?
I would say like 4 to maybe 7 or 8, pushing it 8 o'clock. Cause kids need to go to school, and even if maybe we didn't get any business, so it would only be a Friday, Saturday thing, We don't really know what amount of people we would.
I did have I had another thought. How many go-karts can be on the track at the one time?
We think 6 is.
And you have also, you can have 6 running at the same time, one after the other?
Yeah, we believe that's safe on
And
that
people-
small of a track.
But New York would definitely tell us
They would regulate it if it wasn't.
if
Can they,
we.
can they pass or is there
No,
room to pass?
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah.
yeah, oh, I thought he has it here, pass.
Yeah.
We're just trying to give kids something to do. There's nothing in Portland County for any children to do, so.
Not a
Kind of
lot.
trying to come up with options for kids to do, and this is pretty fun. We have kids, our kids like to ride them.
There's a lot of sporting activities.
Mhm.
Alright, our kids are excited.
Fuel capacity, 2.2 to 4.75 gallons. I wouldn't be in favor of 4.7 or 3.5 gallons.
We're, that, the bigger number there is for like,
The different
aftermarket tank
Different
to be
model,
added to it, and we're gonna keep them.
couple gallons
Yeah.
would be
Yeah,
fine.
we're not modifying them
If you want
the
to see
way they
that.
come from the factory, well, the way that they'll be.
You know, for a lot bigger facility where they run all day long,
Bigger
at,
track.
you know, at tourist places. You know, they've never shut off of it.
Do they have mufflers?
Yes. Very good ones. The Hondas are one of the quietest small engines out there.
You are correct about that. The Honda one are the
Mhm.
quieter motors.
I'm wondering if we should have a public hearing.
Cause it's just like when a micro track was here, the noise was an issue. So they really think we should have a hearing on this one.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to do that.
Second,
Motion made and seconded.
But I didn't get that. You made a motion.
Made and seconded, Paul, Jessica.
What was the motion?
To have a public hearing.
Oh, to set a public hearing? For when?
At the next.
At your next planning board meeting?
Yes, that should work.
that'll give us all time to think a little bit more
Right.
about it here.
And-
Yeah, there's a lot to absorb.
And I also,
Okay, who seconded that motion?
Mike Carter,
Thank you.
Don, before we make that commitment, part of the discussion, maybe we should review this seeker, because there's some issues that come up in terms of zoning and stuff, and maybe those should be resolved somehow or figured out how that fits in with the public hearing before
Do
or
you want
after.
to take a vote on your motion first? This is just for the public hearing.
Do we need to
Yeah.
resolve this first?
no, I think we can go over the seeker after the questions on the environmental assessment form. And there are also some other things that we need to discuss on these 18 recommendations that, and I think not to belabor the applicants, but we really need a better site plan drawn with delineating the parking spaces. But let's get the public hearing resolved first, so we had a motion and a second.
What, I have more discussion on that. I think the public hearing is an excellent thing to do and have. The question is the timing. So when, in the next meeting, I mean, I think we need to have a detailed site plan in order to show it to the public, where are these parking gonna be? What's this fence where is it exactly gonna be? You need a tight drawing to talk to
Excuse me,
people
do you
about it.
want to just take care of your motion for the public hearing and then you can discuss all of that, what you want from the
The
applicant?
timing, you mean the timing of it? Oh, those requirements for it. But we're boxing ourselves in for in 1 month to have this public hearing. And I'm questioning whether it's premature and we should have a meeting where we see that we have an adequate site plan to show people and have some other answers so we can let people know.
I can have a better site plan by then.
Well, Mike, we don't do that when somebody brings us a site plan, we schedule a public hearing before we've actually reviewed it in a board meeting. And if, they can.
Right, so
they can give us a revised site plan. Within the next couple of weeks, will have time to look at it. And
So, you
Present.
guys.
It's more of a digital.
Do you want to withdraw your motion?
site plan.
No,
no,
No, I do not.
we've got a motion on the floor, in a second. Let's call the question. All in favor, aye?
I,
Aye. Motion is carried. Now we can discuss some of these 18 comments that are in here, just so that you know what we're looking for.
I just have a question. So do we know if it's 31 parking spots? Like, do I have the maps of 31 parking spots or is it smaller? So, I mean, I can make it that way. I just want to know if it's definitely 31 parking spots.
according to the code, it's 31 parking spots.
Yeah, so I just have a question about the code. So when we were at the county, they said they couldn't find us a different code because technically that's a retail code
They went under a
and
retail.
we're not retail. They said they couldn't find any other code
Counselor?
that would coincide it. So,
I agree that it appears that the county based their number on using the entire building as commercial property, and that's not what you're proposing, so
Right.
if I was the code officer, I wouldn't say that 31 off-street parking spaces are needed, but that's in the first instance a determination by the code officer, which can be appealed to the ZBA, but to me, 31 seems excessive when you're gonna have 6 go-karts. That's like 5 cars per go-kart.
correct.
And usually a couple kids get out of each car.
Right.
They take up a couple cars.
But you also got employees with vehicles.
There will be no employees but
Just
ourselves.
us. but- Yeah.
So far,
Yeah.
Yeah, you know,
Here, there won't.
But I just want to get them this straight because you said you're gonna have 4, so is this, how many go-karts total? Double, single, 6? 6,
Four
okay.
singles, 2 doubles.
4 singles and 2 doubles.
Hey, Don, I wonder about putting the cart before the horse. There is an issue of whether this is an illegal activity in a B2 business district. There's no classification of it in the code. The code does refer to amusements, and yet it doesn't, in what is legal in a B2 area, amusements are not listed. So it's not retail, it's not light manufacturing. It's a service like, but not like the services that they talk about, which is a hairdresser, things on that order. So it doesn't fit into any of the examples or the nature of what they're trying to say goes into a B2. And I question whether it's an illegal activity. I'll give you an extreme example. If there was a shooting gallery or what do you call it, a range that made noise, you wouldn't think that would be appropriate in a village setting like this. So those aren't mentioned exactly that you can have those amusements in a way in a B2, and I question whether this is an appropriate activity for a B2. And I think that, yeah, I don't know how to handle that. I don't know what our lawyer thinks of that, and this has got to be, you need a variance to go to, it should go to zoning to get their take on it, because I see it that it's, would be required to have a variance, because I don't see that it's legal to put this activity in a B2.
Well, I think the code
So
officer,
I think that should be addressed.
I think the code officer, Kevin, has already implicitly decided that this is an allowed use. So if someone disagrees with that, they should appeal his interpretation to the ZBA.
Who would take that to the?
Don, this is Kevin.
Yes, Kevin.
So I'm in agreement with Mike with regard to start with having you folks do the site plan review. But this should probably be visited or looked at by ZBA, because it is not a listed use in the B2. And my understanding, Pat, you can pipe in, but I thought probably just a site plan review by the planning board to have them turn it over to ZBA because it's not listed as an allowed use.
Well, it's your call originally, Kevin, and if you thought it was not an allowed use, you could have said that you need a use variance. But it sounds like you're wavering on this interpretation, so there's nothing wrong with sending it to the ZBA if that's what you want to do.
Well, that would be my recommend, because it doesn't fit. It doesn't line up closely with what the village has.
I would make a motion, Don, to that effect if it's okay with you.
I have a question now procedurally. If we refer it to the ZBA, then does it come back to here, this board for a site plan review?
If they say it's an allowed use, it comes back for a site plan review. If they say it's not an allowed use, then the applicants have the choice of either applying for a use variance or going to the village board and asking that the zoning law be amended to make this an allowed use.
ZBA,
And Mike made that motion, so we need a second.
To the ZBA for an interpretation.
and Mike,
Is that correct, Patrick?
That is correct, as to whether or not this is an allowed use.
I'll second.
Just a minute. As to whether it's an allowed use. Okay, who made the motion?
Mike Pollock,
Mike Pollock.
Okay, second.
I second, Paula.
Okay,
motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah,
Aye.
unanimous. So you now have to go to the zoning board of appeals for a determination as to whether or not it's an allowed use in that district. And whether if you get an approval from them, then you would come back here. And at that point, we'll be looking for a public hearing on the application and an improved site plan review or site plan for what you want to do. It's not our intention to drag this out for everybody. It is our intention to do it correctly. Because if we were to do something incorrectly, somebody from the public, if I'm mistaken, could sue us and undo what we've done and put you in a bind. So,
does anybody know where I go about
Yeah.
going to the zone?
you file on, with Kevin, do you handle the application for ZBA?
Correct.
Okay, you're back to Kevin McMahon.
Okay.
We'll be in time. And, And keep in mind that, you know, that we have a lot of questions about, the parking, ZBA may be able to, if they approve that use, may be able to address what they feel is adequate parking. But you might want to be prepared when you go to them to what you would like to see for parking. There are some things in here, the county wants a coordinated review. The local emergency services, and quite frankly, I think that with only one entrance could be problematic for fire and rescue ambulance services.
Yeah.
That's one that just jumps out to me. The secondary containment, I told you what I feel about that. I've been through that. As long as the rest of the stuff is boilerplate, that you have to comply with state regulations. Path from the track down to the parking lot. I don't know. I don't know what Kevin McMahon can tell you what that has to be. Can we just gravel? I don't know. My guess is somebody says.
Don, if I might,
Yes,
Don,
yes,
so the applicants, before they come back for a ZBA, or alongside their ZBA application, we're gonna need a much better site plan. Something that's got more detail to it, taken off a decent survey and showing the dimensions of areas and the layout of parking spaces and all of that. So,
right. So my belief is they'll be talking to you before they try to schedule it with the CDA.
yeah, this, as far as I was concerned on this, was just kind of the first blush to see if it was something that the planning board would entertain doing a site plan review for. But to move forward, they need far more detail than what they provided us at this point. And I can get with them on that.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I think that covers what we have to do on this particular project tonight. All right, you have any questions?
No. You?
Any of the board members have any questions for the applicant?
Not easy, guys.
No, I know.
There's a lot to it.
We know,
We-
that's
we've
why
been
we're trying
going-
to start small.
Yeah, we're trying to start somewhere.
Because our real plan is to have an indoor cart. We don't want to be outside. We live in New York, so that's like 5 months of business. So, you know,
Very good. I appreciate it, guys.
yeah, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
We got now on the next item on the agenda is minutes of the last meeting. I gotta find it. Oh.
I'll share mine.
Okay, and there was
Wit,
something that only that Mike Carter was
Shane Witt. The
What?
Wit, number 3,
the
Wit.
wit. Number 3, the Shane,
Mike Carter abstained.
I
not,
understand
okay,
that one. So,
All right.
Mike Carter abstained on which?
on
Shane
the
Witt.
Shane Witt, so applicant for the subdivision.
What action number?
I didn't bring the actions, it must have been 3. Well, no, action 9, action 11.
They said this,
Mike abstained.
Yeah.
Mike Carter, okay. Got it.
I think it was action 12. According to this, I don't know, maybe.
Okay.
it's the wrong thing.
Yeah, okay. it
Same
was
way,
action
this
12.
becomes action 12 at the bottom.
Okay.
Okay, change it to action 12.
Action 12. Okay,
Okay.
so with that correction. I'll entertain them. Yeah, right,
It'd be approved as corrected.
yes.
That's your question.
Moved by,
Paul, you want to move that?
Sure, sorry, I move it.
Paul moves to approve with a correction.
I'll second it.
Mike second, Mike H. All in favor? Aye,
I,
motion carried.
Really loud.
Okay,
I know this thing- I know it's loud.
I think that's
In the mall.
everything we have on tonight's agenda.
I work there.
except for adjournment.
Well, we're gonna just stay here all night. In a motion to adjourn.
I remotely ask for adjournment. Move that we adjourn.
Motion made,
Who-
Mike P.
I got that. Who's second?
I can second it.
Mike H.
Mike H, all good.
All in favor?
Aye.